Welcome back. What we're going to do now is kind of the reverse of what we've been doing. Finding z-scores from p-values. Now I got to say a few things. The previous two lessons on the standard normal distribution, and now I'm blocking, I'll stand over here. In the previous two lessons, we were given z and had to find areas. Find area in the curve. Find the p. Now what we're doing is we were given areas and we got to find z. So we're reversing things. Now a couple of vocabulary words I got to say. The z-values are called z-scores. They are the x-axis. They are the index of this table. They're the edge and the top. The values inside of the probabilities, they're also called p-values. So there's some vocabulary that you will need to know. So what we're going to do here is the opposite. We're given this area, find z. So how do we do that? Well, it's quite simple. We look for 0.0132 inside this table. And I've already got it done. I've already got it marked. You get, there it is right there, underlined, excuse me. And if you look, you got negative 2.2, and then right above it, we're in the 0.02 column, minus 2.2 row. So, in this case, z equals negative 2.22. That's what it equals. Now let's look at the next one, right here. Well, if you recall, and this is going to always apply, this table gives you the area to the left of z. This gives us the area to the right. We got the wrong area. So how do we find the area to the left? We use the properties of a probability distribution. We know that the area under the curve adds to 1. So if we take 1 minus this number, it will give us that area right there. If we were to do that, that will give us the value 9515. So now we go into this table and we look up that 0.9515, and I have already done that. You see it underlined there, and that is row 1.6, column 6. So this is 1.66. Okay, so all we've done is we've reversed what we've done, what we had been doing. Instead of being given the z and finding the p-value, now we have a p-value, find the z-value. And you have to look at the geometry that you're given. You're not always going to be given this very same thing every single time. You got to look at what you're given. And then it may take a little while to find the area inside this table, but it's in there somewhere. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'll put up a couple more problems, and I'll let you solve them. Okay, I put a couple of problems up here. I've got a problem. Here we have the area to the left of z. We've got 0.1666. Find z. Here we've got the area right of z is 0.1515. Find z. Why don't you pause this video for a moment and work the problem, and I'll be back with the answer. Okay, so here we are. The first problem up here, all you have to do is directly look up 0.166 off the table, and you get negative 0.97. Here, you got to subtract 0.1515 from 1. That gives you 0.8485. That's what you look up on the table. And its corresponding z-value is 1.03. I hope you got those correct. We're going to do a couple more, and these are going to be a little bit more difficult. You've got to work with the geometry that you're given. So hold on just a second, and I'll put those up. Okay, I've got a couple problems up here. Let me change this around so I can see better. Now this problem right here, we've got z sitting right here. We know that this value here, this z-score here is negative 1.25, excuse me, 1.24, and we have 0.7991 as the shaded area. How are we going to get that z? Think about it. There's geometry at work here. We've got some pieces. Now, answer I finally put on the board will be right, but it doesn't mean it's the only way to do it. If you work it in your mind and come up with a different way, but you get the same answer, I believe you're correct. If you get the same answer, I'm sure that you're pretty certain that your process was correct. I'm just thinking this is one way to do it. Some of these have different ways to do it because of the geometry. So let's look at this. To get this number here, to get this z, I'm going to need the area, all of the area to the left, and I'm missing that area. What area goes here? It can be looked up when you look up negative 1.25, negative 1.24. When you look that up, that'll give you the area here. If we add those two areas together, then that'll be the area to the left of z. We can look that up. So if I look up the area to the left of negative 1.24, I find out that is 0.1075. If I add these two numbers up, I get 0.9066. And now if we go to our table, and we look up our z table, and we look up 0.9066, we'll find that z equals 1.32. Okay, let's look at the next one. It's set up a little differently. What happens? We've just swapped those. Here, the lower value we do not have, but we do have the z-score for the upper boundary. So what we need to do here is we need to find the area down here. Once we have the area down here, we can look up our p table, our p value, and find the corresponding z. How would I do that? Well, this gives us the area from here all the way over. And then if we subtract that area off, we'd be left with the blue area. So if I take and look up 2.32, and that value is 0.9898, that comes from there, and this comes from here, 0.8964. And then you subtract that, you get 0.0934. Now that's the area for right here. So now if we look that up on the table, we get, and I haven't looked it up, 0.0934. I will find it, 0.0909. Negative 1.32. That's what we get for that. So when you get a problem like this on the test or for homework, it's very important to look at your geometry. What has the problem given you? What do you have to work with? And then do the math. Okay, that ends this.